DJ Ash Noble here, MC Noble, and welcome back to another stream. There wasn't really anything planned as such that I really wanted to stream about. There was really no announcements to make. There was nothing new to report on, so I kind of thought, let's do a stream and let's sort of reflect on sort of like the past sort of year. Now, when I say the past year, I don't necessarily exactly mean like, from a year ago today to now. I just sort of mean sort of like last year, and sort of this year, and just sort of a little bit about really, the changes and the progression, some of the amazing events that I've been fortunate and been lucky to play at, sort of how it's all happened, sort of where it's all gone to, and just have a general sort of little reflection upon the past year, because when I actually sit and think about the past sort of year, and sort of even to where I actually was about a year ago today, to obviously where I am now. So let's sort of let's look at the smaller picture before we look at the sort of bigger picture. So last year we was for a big chunk of last year we were still in the COVID lockdown. There was no nightclubs open. There was no festivals taking place. There was no large gatherings taking place, and we was all in a little bit of a shite place. I was unemployed. I was just genuinely not in the best place that I could be, but I was in the same boat as a lot of other people. There was nothing, the lockdowns. There was nothing you could really do. It was a global, apparently a global pandemic. So, that was something that just unfortunately, something that couldn't be altered. It was something that happened, and we had to deal with it. But now we jump to a year on, and I'm playing events. I'm playing a lot of venues. I'm getting booked for private parties. I'm getting booked for private functions, and I'm now no longer unemployed. As you know, I started a new job last week. So when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, if you look back to last year, it was like a guy who wasn't doing too well, who has then suddenly just started to begin doing well. So a guy who wasn't employed has gone to being employed. So in the past year, I've got myself a job. And I've started, playing out and DJing a heck of a lot more. So let's go back and let's think back to when we was in that lockdown, because although we was in a lockdown, it wasn't like, for me, it wasn't a horrible situation and time. Now, obviously, like everybody else, I was praying and hoping, that sometime soon they was going to say, look, the clubs and things can reopen, obviously. But on the grand scheme of I wasn't waking up depressed. I wasn't waking up feeling down. I wasn't waking up wishing that I wasn't here. I was genuinely relatively happy. I was doing lots of production projects with the layman. I was doing a lot of live streams on the internet, which was keeping myself sort of busy, keeping myself active as a DJ, and some of what I do believe, to why I get booked now. I think them live streams most definitely helped going live, sort of through the lockdowns, and through the other bits and bobs of whatever had gone down, which was obviously one of them things. So that was someone's blasting rock music from the distance. They're probably doing it because I was blasting donk earlier. Yeah. So obviously I was doing a lot of live streams. That was keeping me sort of active. It was keeping my name active. I was playing on a range of different pages at that point. So I think at one point I was doing like 4 different pages. So I know I originally started going live on my own page. That was kind of where it started. Then I joined up with Harder Southwest, which at the time it was a great team. It was a growing page. It was doing quite well. It was doing quite well in likes. It was doing quite well in people was viewing the streams, and it was just genuinely, you'd go on Facebook, you'd see something Harder Southwest related. Obviously, through lockdown, there was no events, so kind of like some of the big sort of like rave brands, they were putting on like live streaming events where there'd be live streams across their pages, and sometimes Harder Southwest would team up with some of them pages. I know Stomping was one of them. DJs would go live. So obviously, when I joined with Harder Southwest, it was quite a good. Quite a good thing to go by. Then I joined onto the Aurora Core page, which was again, it was another move for me. It was another growing page. It was just some be on a different page where there might be some different followers and listeners. Then I moved on over. Well, I didn't move. I took on another page as well called Welsh's Banging Streams. I only originally intended to just do one stream on there to cover for a DJ who couldn't stream. Essentially, he wasn't able to make it, or he'd had to pull out for whatever reason. And they seemed to like what I do, so they spoke to me about me becoming a resident. So at the time, I thought, well, why not? I'm growing. I'm becoming a part of all these different pages. Then I decided to team up with Eternally Hardcore, and then I also teamed up with a Hardcore Till We Bounce page. So at the time, I was doing quite a lot of streams, and then obviously COVID. I don't want to say come to an end, but they told us that obviously we could go back in our nightclubs, and our venues could open. I mean, by this point, some of the main festivals had already obviously cancelled for last year. It was too late in the day to to organise anything, but certainly for like small events and people just getting back into nightclubs, gave a lot of opportunities for the likes of Harder Southwest and Stomping, and other brands that were going about at the time. It gave them opportunities to to come back and and deliver something inside of a nightclub. So obviously the events returned. Harder Southwest Fest was the first one I played at, which was where I did get approached about Aurora Core on that weekend, as they liked what I did. But yeah, there was Harder Southwest Fest, which was a really enjoyable weekend. It was also a really bad weekend for me as well, because it was just, for me, I made a lot of mistakes and errors that I just kind of look back now and I think, do you know what, that's not what I want to do anymore. And I got too drunk, we'll cut the story short. I just got too drunk. I think, it was our first weekend back out with a load of people. There were some friends from Hull that were coming to this festival as well at the time, and I was just genuinely buzzed, and I had quite a bit of money to go to this festival, so I just got quite a bit of booze and thought, let's make a good weekend of it. And I ended up getting too drunk, and I ended up, just making a little bit of a tit of myself and stuff like that. So I kind of thought, well, you know what, I don't want to, that's not who I want to be anymore. That, I don't want to be that person where, I get too drunk and then I end up missing sets, and, I travel down somewhere and then I don't end up remembering half of the night because I've got too blaked. And this is why, some of you may or may not know, but I've actually cut down a hell of a lot on my drinking. So if I go to a rave and I play at venues, it's very rare that I will have a drink. Sometimes I'll have the odd drink. And it all varies really. If I know I've got like a secure way of getting home, I suppose, then I'll sometimes feel a bit reluctant to have a couple of drinks. And you know, if I'm going to be sticking around for a bit, I'll sometimes have a couple of drinks. Sometimes, depending on the situation and the place, or you know what it is, sometimes I just won't have a drink at all. I'll just stick to a soft drink because it's like, you know, it's just not for me. And sometimes when you want to go and give that like really good impression and you don't want to get too drunk and show yourself up. But I don't do that now at events. Like, I don't get too drunk and show myself up. So yeah, so that festival was kind of like a big eye opener for me to kind of say, you know, don't go to these events and you know, and have like 12 Jaeger bombs and then, you know, not able to play your set. And especially when you're getting these life goals and achievements, like obviously last year I got on some flyers with a few biggish names, and you know, if I'd have ruined it by getting too drunk and not remembering half of the nights, whereas at least now I'm making memories and I'm remembering these nights, and I'm remembering being with these DJs that I've followed for years. So it kind of, you know, it was an eye opener for me, was the festival. So after that, my residency with Alliance Dance Events, that returned, and they put an event on. And that event was just absolutely, for me, again, I got drunk at it as well, believe it or not. Even though the festival was a big eye opener, I actually got drunk at it. Um, well, so I think I did. I actually think I was actually spiked at that event because I remember this event very well because it was the last Alliance event that took place, and it was the last one I played for. I'm not actually a resident for them anymore. I actually left. But anyway, there's a little bit of weirdness about this event that I just don't really seem to. There's things that don't add up. So I currently remember the time very well because I was very skint. I was really skint, to the point where I didn't have no money really. My mum was also very skint, and we actually scraped a bit of money together so I could go. My mum actually got the day mixed up and thought I was there on the Saturday and not actually there on the Friday, which was another little bit of a little bit of a thing for me. So I didn't have much money to go with in the first place. So I think I ended up going all together with about 20 quid. So I went to the shop near me. I got myself a bottle of Coke. I remember that. Something for the journey. I went to meet my mate's house, who was playing this event also. So I got the bus. I got a single. It was a couple of quid for a single, up to near his end. I had one can of beer at his house, which was, if I remember right, it was either a can or a bottle of Budweiser. So I had that. And then literally, I chipped in a fiver for the fuel, so that was already like sort of 5-6 quid gone at the venue. Sorry, before I've even got to the venue. So I get to the venue, couple of people there that I recognise, and some of the people I'd gone with, one of them buys me a drink, so I have a pint of Foster's. And then my other friend buys me a pint of Foster's, and I buy a pint of Foster's myself. So I think in total I have about 3 pints of Foster's and maybe one Budweiser. So about 3-4 pints. Nothing to throw you out of the ordinary. And I still ended up having a fiver left in change, or just over a fiver, I think it was. So I hadn't gone out of the ordinary. I'd had no shots. I'd had absolutely nothing. And the next thing, I'm being thrown out the venue. I don't even get to MC, and the people who I'm driving with, because I was on at the last set, they actually left me and didn't want to wait for the last set. Also, they claim that I wanted to be left in Scarborough, apparently, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, why, when I've got no way of getting back, would I want to be stranded in Scarborough? So my phone died. My phone ran out of charge. Had no way of contacting or ringing anybody. Luckily, Sean Davey, who runs the Alliance events, allowed me to crash at his, which was a good thing. And the only thing I could actually do in the morning, luckily, had a landline. So I actually rang for my nan and said, you know, I'm stuck in Scarborough. You're gonna have to come and pick me up. So I went to Scarborough. I got picked up from Scarborough, got brought back here, and then I sadly I got obviously got on a train back to Hull. My mum was all panic and you know, worrying about me. And stuff like that. But it didn't add up because, you know, I didn't have to take that much money out. I didn't buy that much drink. So I'm thinking to myself, like, how could I have got blaked on that little amount of money that I took out to still have some of it with me the following day, which was a little bit of a, you know, I'm thinking, what the actual, like, how do I have this money still if I apparently got so drunk? And it just didn't add up. So it was a weird event. And then Alliance never really did anything after that. They never really put any other events on. So I just sort of thought, well, you know what? It's not really doing anything. It's not really gaining anything for me. They're not really putting any nights on. So, you know, why am I even a resident for something that's not really in existence? So I decided earlier this year that I was going to pull away. There was supposed to be an event this year that didn't take place. And I was actually in contact. I was asking them just if they could help me out with a bit of fuel money and stuff, you know, because I've supported them for you know, a lot of their time as an event, and I just thought, you know what, it would be nice if I got a little something for it. So so that was obviously gutting. My time with DNA started, so I got booked for DNA with Scott Brown, which was an absolute belter of a night. It wasn't the busiest night, but it wasn't a bad night either, and it was really good. You know, it was my first time sort of going down to Leicester, linking up with the Leicester crew, and that was actually the following week, believe it or not. But I'd just been paid, so it was all good. So I had a lift down. That I remember, I don't think I really had too much to drink. I think I maybe had a couple of beers or something like that. Maybe a couple of Jaeger bombs, but I definitely, you know, I didn't go crazy. I remember not going crazy. So that was all gravy. Then I got asked to do another DNA, which was Billy's memorial stream, and it was like an event that got live streamed as well. That was all good and gravy. I got booked for Stomp for Jordan, which wasn't the best event that I played for, but I enjoyed my set, which was the main thing. Played a really nice sort of classic, sort of funky house, you know, deep house.
I've just heard from your dad.
Oh yeah.
He's been at a police station.
Uh.
Somebody on a push bike has come out of Galloway Park, down near Mariners, straight into him on this bike and car, and police have had him questioning him both and such as and that all afternoon, and realised your dad and all sorts. Of course, your dad doesn't drink now, so thank God for that.
No.
Yeah. And so he'll be home shortly, but he's going to let takeaway now because he wants to get to work, back to work, like.
Yeah.
Then he's going to he wants Louisa to bring Laurel here, like, so that he can get to work and set Laurel.
Yeah. Well, obviously he wouldn't be able to ring us if he was, you know, in question.
In question, yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
What was he doing near Galloway for? Where is that?
It's near Mariners.
Oh, yeah.
You'd be going down to
Iceland
and that,
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, at least we know.
We know now, yeah.
Yeah, I know it don't.
I mean, police should let them use the phone and ring.
Yeah, but
I mean, what exactly is.
no, but me,
Well,
a while back, me mum had to go into police station,
yeah.
and you know, I was ringing up trying to find out,
Where she was, yeah.
and you're not allowed.
No.
If you ring the police, they can't tell. You know, if they've got someone in, they can't tell you.
Oh.
You know, even if you're family.
Yeah.
So.
They don't realise how people work.
No, because I rang number and they said I'm sorry. The woman said all you can do is wait till you hear from them.
Yeah. What did they take the number from?
And some lad had come round to the house and he had nothing on him. And he got done. But because my mum was with him,
Yeah.
he got the house.
But you know, she got arrested.
Yeah. Yeah.
No wonder she don't want to go to jail.
Hey?
I said, no wonder
I am. Sorry about that, people. So yeah, so we had Billy's Memorial, Stomp for Jordan, which wasn't like I played a good house set, but it just wasn't that good of an event, and the upstairs actually got shut down, which wasn't too good. And then after that, I played an event for Freshers Week at the service station in Hull, which I had a really good time. I played a 2 hour house set, and it was probably for me it was one of the most best house sets that I've ever played. And sadly, I just did not get the chance to really record it. I got a little bit of footage at the time, but you know, nothing much to really show what the set was. And then things really moved up a level. Things cranked up and things cracked up. And things got a whole lot better when I got probably my biggest booking to date, which was the Bounce to Your Drop launch night. This was with Club Filler, John Neal, Charlie Bosch, Top Vibe and Destiny, Ashton, myself, Ash Noble, Jordan Hind in the room too. There was MC's Friction and Freestyle, and that event was just really opened my eyes to. I guess it was a glimpse at my foreseeable future. Is the only way I can describe it. The event was just absolutely perfect. It was, you know, everything about it was just amazing. The promotion of the event and the promotion of all the Bounce to Your Drop events are just done right. You know, like someone who knows how to promote. You know, it was just done right. You know, the word was spread. You knew this event was happening. You know, I played at some events where a week before the event is due to take place, I haven't got long for any promotion. And then obviously the event doesn't do well because people don't know about it. Scratches his head and goes, where did I go wrong? But no, with Bounce to Your Drop, you know, they were spreading the word. There was flyers all over. You know, it was all over social media. It was also a launch night as well, so people would have been curious as to, you know, oh, what's going on here? You know, what's this night? What's this all about? What's it all about, Alf? um, so that was really good. Then after that, we had what was it after that? We had I think it was DNA. It was Halloween DNA. That was another event that took place. There was a DNA Halloween. There was also I played at the Waltzers at Hull Fair, which was a really fun, enjoyable thing to do. However, I was a little bit annoyed with that as well because there was a guy called FaZe that normally plays for for the Waltzers. I was going to say is he wasn't really keen for going on until like you know, till the fairground got a little bit busier and all the rest of it. So they actually wanted me, you know, to go on and sort of play like, you know, play like an hour sort of thing. And I got about half an hour in, and he just basically kicks me off the decks and says, I want to go on now. And I had to, you know, I had to walk off. And to be fair, I'd never DJ'd the Waltzers before, so by the time I had got to about sort of 25 minutes to half an hour in, you know, I was just getting used to it. I was like, do you know what? Yeah, I get this now. You know, because DJing on the Waltzers, believe it or not, it's different to playing in a nightclub. And because it's Waltzers and because it's a ride, you know, when you're going round on the ride, that's when you want everything to be pumping and banging. So you don't want some like euphoric breakdown while everybody's going around. You want it to, you know, the carts are spinning, the tunes are bouncing. You know, so when people are sort of riding, you know, sort of changing, you know, coming off the ride and people are coming on, that's when you want the breakdowns. You know, so obviously, you know, when they are riding round, that's when you've got all the pumping, banging tunes that are absolutely, you know, you know, going for it, which is obviously, you know, crazy. So yeah, then after that, I played for Stomping because I think Danny N couldn't make it. It was October, something like the 23rd of October, I think it was. And he couldn't make it, so I ended up filling in. I ended up opening up the downstairs room. And, you know, there weren't many people there, but there was more did actually come to it than I thought. They seemed to enjoy the set. I played like a hard house set, which I do like playing a bit of hard house, and I went back to sort of some of Whitby's awesome record days, which, you know, that was my favourite era of Whitby. So many amazing tunes. So that was good. Then, like I say, I played the DNA Halloween. That was also a good one to play as well. And that was I think that was the final DNA of the year as well. So that was obviously, you know, that was obviously it. And then I also played the Christmas Stomping. So there was the Christmas Stomp, which was, you know, we had the likes of Easy Vibe, there was the likes of Vibes, the likes of Sid P, and there was, I think there was like, I don't know if there was maybe Top Groove or something like that maybe played as well. I've got the flyer at home, I'm obviously not home. So that was an amazing event. I also did a Let's Trance, which was November, which was a good one. I just hosted that one on the mic, which was that was enjoyable to host as well. There was Bounce to Your Drop in November with Ian Van Dal, and there was, who else was on that one as well? There was Nixie and Devise. There was General Bounce. That was an absolute belter of an event. I was playing in the second room, and then I got asked at the last minute, and they said, you know, would you do a 45-minute set in the main room as well? Which is the thing, because the likes of Destiny and Top Vibe, they put themselves down to play. But sometimes, like if the night's like really busy, or they just don't get time to play, you know, or there's just a few things that, you know, don't necessarily go to plan. You know, you can have that backup, and then it was like, you know, oh, will you warm up in the main room, which was really good. And I remember the night as well, because it had actually been snowing, believe it or not, and it had actually come quite cold and icy. And I remember the layman himself was at another event, and he couldn't get to the Bounce to Your Drop one until a little bit later on. He was picking me up, so our good friend Gabe actually came along to the event, and this was kind of like the first time he got to witness me DJ sort of out, you know, in an actual nightclub, and I think maybe even the first time he's actually seen me DJ as well. So he took a little video. He went live, I think, at the time for me, which was really good. And it was just enjoyable, so that was good. And then obviously we come on to 2022, where we had DNA Hard, which was an absolutely amazing event. It was actually quite busy. It was one of the busiest DNAs that I'd seen. It was Shameless's birthday, so Nick Smith, and it was spread across 2 rooms, and they put like a competition on to play in the second room. So that was good. That was enjoyable. There was what came after that? There was Clubland Vibes, where everything went wrong for me because I had a USB stick issue. I started doing private parties, private functions. That was obviously one. I played Stomping's first birthday. That was enjoyable. I played a DNA free party this year. I played Bounce to Your Drop with Public Domain. I formed my band Noble and the Gang, and we've played such as the Polar Bear, the Adelphia Club, and the Goodwin Octagon car park when we did the big Jubilee Jamboree, which was an enjoyable thing to be a part of. And then obviously I did Stomping in, I think, was it May? I think it was the 21st of May, and there was I played that one. I remember it because I had chronicle toothache, and I was like, I felt absolutely crap all day. I went over to my friend Gemma's house at the time, and I was sat there in absolute agony. And then she gave me a paracetamol, and it sort of picked up a bit, and then I sort of had a few drinks, and it sort of calmed down. And then I remember after the event, we went back. We finished the event, and we went on to McDonald's. And I remember being in the drive-through for McDonald's in the taxi, and my toothache was just absolutely, this was at this point, this was like where I knew that I had, so I had to do something. It isn't just going to go away. This was where the toothache had got absolutely chronicle, really bad, really chronicle toothache, absolutely awful. Hated it. So it was absolutely terrible. So I remember that event because I was in pain. And then after that, like I said, there was the Public Domain. That was I ended up doing that one unintentionally. Like I say, I filled in and helped out for Bounce to Your Drop, which I don't mind doing that for them. I don't do it for like every event, but when there's a certain amount of loyalty between yourselves and a brand, and they've always been good to me. They've always, they've always let me, like I played for events where I played a couple of events, and then I've maybe not been on the next one after that, and they've expected me to, to come and pay to go into the event, and I'm thinking, hang on a second, like I've gone round and picked up flyers, from your house, and I've taken flyers to events, and I've shared the absolute crap out of it on social media, and then I don't play for your next event, and you expect I'm just going to come and, pay like a normal raver. And I'm thinking, you know what, you should at least, just say, look, you can come in on the guest list, and Bounce to Your Drop. If I don't play for their events, which I don't play for everyone, because obviously they like to change up the lineups and things, and give different people a chance as well. But they always say, come down, and you can come into the event, and you can do this, and you can do that, and you can do this, and and you can just get yourself absolutely, you can just get involved, and that's what I like. People respect what you do, and I share the fuck out, out of their events, and I'm online, and I'm sharing it. I come on YouTube and I talk about their events, so that's obviously a great thing. And now we're obviously on to where we are now. So I've done things like studio sessions, which was good. I've done Bounce Force, which was enjoyable. So the whole, sort of from going into that lockdown to sort of where we are now, it's just absolutely chronic. The change is just unreal. You don't expect the change, which is absolutely You know, you just don't expect it, you know. You just don't expect it. So, you know, the past year has just been really, it's been amazing. So I think as far as like some of the best like gigs and events that I've played at, I have to say for me, like the bounce to your drop events, they're definitely, you know, they are definitely my most favourites. Just, you know, the atmosphere is always belting. You know, you're always well looked after. Um, you know, even to the fact of like going behind the DJ booth and you know there's like a little fridge in there with drinks and you know you can get you know there's like water and Coca-Cola in there, which is, you know, it's always good. You know, you go somewhere and you're playing somewhere and you know they're looking after you. You know, whereas you go to some places and you know the guy putting the event on just, you know, doesn't even want to stretch to, you know, to getting you a drink, and you don't even get thanked for, you know, for playing. Whereas Bounce to Your Drop, they always put a post up and they always thank all the DJs for, you know, for playing and being a part of the event. You know, whereas you know some events it's, you know, one's finished on with the next one. You know, no thank yous to the people that have played the, you know, the night. You know, no big ups to everybody that's come, and a special mention you. But you know, besides, like I say, besides Bounce to Your Drop, there's been some amazing events, studio sessions a couple of weeks ago in Doncaster. That was a really good event, and that was a good day as well because I went early, met with some friends in Doncaster. And one good thing I do love about all of this music stuff, having friends within the music scene, you know, where you can do stuff like maybe go and meet them earlier and go for a meal, or you can, you know, or you can go and meet up with them and, you know, maybe, you know, just do a few things before the event. And you can just enjoy yourself and you can just get in the moment and you can just get in the vibe, and it's just a really enjoyable thing to be a part of, is the music scene, especially like that. But yeah, the past year has been incredible. I'm looking forward to whatever's going to come with the future. Obviously, you know, I've started working now as well, so you know, who knows what can happen and you know what can change, and obviously, hopefully, I'll be able to upgrade the music equipment as well at some point. Hopefully, you know, once I'm sort of got my feet in at work and I sort of know roughly, you know, what I'm gonna get, you know, each time I'm paid, and obviously, you know, it's just one of them things, isn't it? Where we'll have to see, but you know, an upgrade will be on the cards, and then obviously, I'll be able to do, you know, some more cool things as well. You know, whether it be like buying some sample packs and stuff like that, which I don't do all that often. You know, because obviously before I was working, you know, with the dole and everything, you know, you're obviously limited to, you know, to what you can do, and you know, once it's gone, you know, you've got to wait till the next month to, you know, to get it again, and it, you know, it wasn't all that much, and when we come out of COVID, they obviously knocked it back down because, you know, obviously we're not claiming that extra for going through the COVID times, and you know, and then I had a bit of issue with a phone bill as well, which I've now got sorted, but I had to pay out a little bit more a month, and you know, it was just one of them where, you know, you couldn't do much. You know, you had to limit what you could do, which wasn't the best. And then obviously, you know, hopefully now things can, you know, they can go on the rise. But that is the past year. It's been an amazing past year. If you've got any good stories or any good things that have happened in your past year, comment them down below. Make sure to like, comment, share. Peace out.